The story about the Queen of Sheba. Long ago, in an age when legends walked the earth and the sands of time whispered secrets of forgotten kingdoms, there lay a realm shrouded in mystique and untold wealth. This was the land of Sheba, a kingdom famed for its precious spices, its mastery of ancient trade routes, and the wisdom that was said to flow like its life-giving rivers. Sheba, a sun-drenched domain where the air hummed with the scent of frankincense and myrrh, and where vast deserts guarded untold treasures. It was a land where knowledge was as valued as gold, and where the pursuit of truth was a sacred endeavor. It was in this enigmatic kingdom, where intellect and opulence intertwined, that a queen reigned, a woman whose name would echo through millennia, not for conquest, but for her unquenchable thirst for wisdom, the Queen of Sheba. Her name, perhaps Makeda, perhaps Bilqis, is veiled in the mists of tradition, but her legend is indelible. She was not a queen by mere accident of birth, but a sovereign who ruled with astute judgment and a keen mind. Her father, and the rulers before him, had cultivated a kingdom renowned for its sophisticated culture and its pivotal role in the ancient world's economy. From a tender age, the Queen of Sheba was immersed in this world. While others might have been content with the trappings of royalty, she was driven by an insatiable curiosity. She learned the intricate dance of diplomacy, the complex mathematics of trade, the lore of her people, and the philosophies that sought to unravel the mysteries of existence. Her mind was a repository of knowledge, her spirit ever searching. The Queen of Sheba did not merely govern, she quested. She understood that true power lay not just in armies or riches, but in understanding the world, understanding people, and understanding the divine forces that shaped destinies. She knew that wisdom was the rarest jewel, more precious than all the gold in her coffers. Though many sought her hand, offering alliances and earthly power, the Queen of Sheba saw her life as a journey towards enlightenment. Marriage, if it came, would not be a mere political union, but a partnership with a mind that could challenge and inspire her own. Her ambition was not for territorial expansion, but for the expansion of the soul, the deepening of understanding. Then, carried on the winds that swept across deserts and seas, whispers began to reach her court. Tales from the distant kingdom of Israel, a land to the north, spoke of a king named Solomon. He was said to be a ruler, blessed by his God with wisdom unparalleled, a monarch whose judgments were profound, whose knowledge was vast, and whose kingdom flourished under a divine light. The Queen of Sheba heard of his magnificent temple, his organized realm, and the sagacity that drew scholars and emissaries from afar. It wasn't tales of Solomon's riches or military might that captivated her, though his kingdom was indeed prosperous. It was the persistent, awestruck accounts of his profound wisdom. To the Queen of Sheba, a seeker of truth, Solomon represented not a potential rival or a mere ally, but a beacon, a mind she had to encounter, a source of knowledge she felt compelled to explore. She saw in these tales an opportunity, not for conquest, but for illumination, a chance to test this legendary wisdom and perhaps to learn from it. She was a flame of inquiry, and Solomon, she hoped, was a son of enlightenment. When the decision was made, it was not out of political necessity, but out of an intellectual imperative. She would undertake the arduous journey to Jerusalem. She would carry with her not just gifts befitting a queen, but also the hard questions, the riddles and philosophical quandaries designed to probe the depths of Solomon's acclaimed sagacity. She left the familiar comforts of her opulent land, the sweet-smelling groves of Sheba, to traverse deserts and mountains, leading a caravan laden with spices, gold, and precious stones, and an even more precious cargo of intellectual curiosity. Her journey was not just a physical passage, but a pilgrimage towards understanding. Israel, when she finally approached its borders, was a land of different textures, different songs, a different God. The air was filled with the devout prayers to Yahweh, a singular deity whose worship was central to Solomon's kingdom. But this did not daunt the Queen of Sheba. She was a woman of profound intellect, not easily swayed by unfamiliar customs, but rather intrigued by them. She had come to Jerusalem not to impose, but to inquire, not to rule, but to learn. When the Queen of Sheba and her magnificent retinue arrived in Jerusalem, she was received with the honor due to a great sovereign. She was a figure of exotic splendor, regal, intelligent, and poised. Her beauty was spoken of, but it was the keenness in her eyes, the thoughtful set of her jaw, that truly commanded attention. Her presence was not one of intimidation, but of profound, searching intellect. It was not her wealth that would define this visit, but her mind, her challenging questions, and her earnest quest for truth. She came before King Solomon, and the legendary encounter began. But it was quickly apparent that this was no ordinary diplomatic meeting. This was a meeting of minds, a subtle, profound contest of wits and wisdom. King Solomon, though a monarch of great power, was known first and foremost for the divine gift of understanding. His kingdom, unified and prosperous, was a testament to this wisdom. The Queen of Sheba had come to witness it, to test it, to be assured of its reality. She was a seeker in every sense of the word. She began to probe Solomon's mind, presenting him with riddles that had perplexed the wisest scholars of her own land, questions about the nature of existence, of justice, of the divine. She observed his court, the efficiency of his administration, the fairness of his judgments, the devotion of his people, and the awe-inspiring temple he had built for his God. She was determined to understand the source of Israel's strength, and she suspected it lay in the very wisdom she had traveled so far to find. Her quest, however, was not merely intellectual. The Queen of Sheba's journey to Jerusalem was a spiritual exploration. She had come to see if the tales of Solomon's God, Yahweh, and the wisdom he bestowed were true. She was a ruler from a land with its own ancient beliefs, yet her mind was open, searching for a deeper understanding of the divine that governed the universe. The winds of intellectual discovery began to blow through the halls of Solomon's palace. It was no longer just a state visit. The Queen of Sheba's presence in Jerusalem became a profound dialogue, a meeting of two of the ancient world's most brilliant minds. With Solomon, a king whose wisdom was said to be a gift from God, the queen engaged in conversations that spanned the breadth of human knowledge and divine mystery. His words, his insights, his very governance became the focus of her intense scrutiny. If the kingdom was indeed a reflection of its king, she would understand it from its core. Under Solomon's guidance, or rather, through her keen observation of his rule, the Queen of Sheba witnessed a society ordered by principles she found deeply compelling. The justice meted out in his courts, the prosperity that seemed to bless the land, the intricate workings of his administration, all spoke of a wisdom that was not merely theoretical but eminently practical. Her belief in the power of true understanding was being affirmed with every passing day. The Queen of Sheba, hailing from a land of polytheistic traditions, observed the monotheistic worship of Yahweh with intense interest. To her, this was not an imposition to be resisted, but a phenomenon to be understood. Solomon spoke of Yahweh not as one God among many, but as the singular source of all creation and all wisdom. And as she listened, as she saw the fruits of Solomon's faith in the flourishing of his kingdom and the depth of his own understanding, she began to perceive a truth she had not encountered before. The centerpiece of her visit, beyond the exchange of diplomatic pleasantries, was the intellectual sparring with Solomon. She came to prove him with hard questions. These were not trivial puzzles, but profound inquiries into the nature of life, ethics, and the cosmos. Questions designed to stump even the most astute. She presented her enigmas, watching, listening, analyzing. And Solomon, with the wisdom that was his divine gift, answered them all, not with arrogance, but with clarity and depth. He unraveled her riddles, met her philosophical challenges, and shared insights that resonated with her own deep yearning for truth. For the Queen of Sheba, this was more than an intellectual victory for Solomon. It was a revelation. His wisdom was not mere cleverness. It was a profound, illuminating force. She toured his palace, marveled at the provisions for his household, the order of his servants, their attire, the burnt offerings that ascended at the temple of Yahweh. The sheer scale, organization, and spiritual devotion of Solomon's kingdom left her breathless. The scriptures say, "And when the Queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom and the house that he had built, there was no more spirit in her." This was not a loss of her own spirit, but an overwhelming sense of awe, a recognition of something far greater than she had anticipated. The Queen of Sheba, a ruler of immense intellect and power in her own right, found herself humbled not by force, but by a wisdom so profound it seemed to touch the divine. Her quest had led her to a truth more potent than any she had known. And so, in a moment that would be recorded for all time, she declared to Solomon, "It was a true report that I heard in mine own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came, and mine eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceedeth the fame which I heard. Happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee, and that hear thy wisdom. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel. Because the Lord loved Israel forever, therefore made he thee king, to do judgment and justice." This was no mere flattery. It was the profound acknowledgement of a seeker who had found what she sought. She recognized not only Solomon's personal greatness, but also attributed it to his God, Yahweh. The seeds of understanding had taken root, and her heart was filled not with envy, but with profound respect and admiration. In the wake of this profound intellectual and spiritual encounter, the Queen of Sheba's time in Jerusalem drew to a close. She had come with questions, and she was leaving with answers that resonated deep within her soul. Her admiration for Solomon and for the source of his wisdom was genuine and transformative. She had not been conquered or cowed, but enlightened and inspired. She showered Solomon with lavish gifts, 120 talents of gold, and of spices very great store, and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these which the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And King Solomon in turn gave the Queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which Solomon gave her of his royal bounty. This exchange was not just material, it symbolized a mutual respect, a sharing of the best each kingdom had to offer. Her departure from Jerusalem was not one of defeat or retreat, but of fulfillment. She carried back to her own land not just Solomon's gifts, but the indelible imprint of his wisdom and the nascent understanding of his God. The journey back to Sheba would be one of reflection, of integrating the profound truths she had encountered. All great journeys, no matter how far, eventually lead back home, but the traveler is never quite the same. For the Queen of Sheba, her return to her kingdom marked not an end, but a new beginning, shaped by the wisdom she had sought and found. The Queen of Sheba had journeyed to Israel as a seeker, a skeptic perhaps, driven by the renown of a distant king. She returned as a believer in the profound power of wisdom, and deeply touched by the encounter with Solomon and the God he served. Her reign in Sheba, already marked by intelligence and prosperity, is said to have gained an even deeper dimension of sagacity and justice. The impact of her visit resonated far beyond the borders of Israel and Sheba. Her story became woven into the traditions of multiple cultures and religions. In Jewish lore, she is a symbol of intellectual curiosity and a testament to Solomon's divine wisdom. In Christian traditions, Jesus himself refers to the Queen of the South, who came to hear Solomon's wisdom, holding her up as an example of a genuine seeker of truth who would rise in judgment against those who ignored greater revelations. Perhaps most profoundly in Ethiopian tradition, the Queen of Sheba, known as Makeda, is revered as the mother of their nation. Legend holds that her union with Solomon resulted in a son, Menelik I, who became the first emperor of Ethiopia, initiating the Solomonic dynasty that would rule for centuries. This lineage is said to have brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia, making the nation a sacred repository of Judeo-Christian heritage. Whether historical fact or cherished national epic, this narrative underscores the transformative power attributed to her journey and her person. The Queen of Sheba's story is not one of military conquest or political maneuvering in the style of Jezebel. Her empire was one of the mind, her battles fought with intellect, her victories measured in understanding. She represents the eternal human quest for knowledge, the courage to venture into the unknown in search of truth, and the humility to recognize wisdom when it is found, even if it challenges one's own worldview. Her legacy is not written in stone monuments of fear, but in the enduring narratives of wisdom sought and shared. She is a reminder that true power can be found in enlightenment, that curiosity is a virtue, and that the greatest journeys are often those of the mind and spirit. The Queen of Sheba's tale demonstrates that leadership can be defined by intellectual pursuit and spiritual openness, rather than by dominance and control. Her encounter with Solomon was a turning point, not just for her, but for the way wisdom itself was perceived. It highlighted a form of international diplomacy built on mutual respect and intellectual exchange, a stark contrast to the often brutal power politics of the ancient world. In the end, the Queen of Sheba's story serves as an inspiration, one that echoes through the ages. Her thirst for knowledge, her courage to undertake a perilous journey for enlightenment, and her grace in acknowledging a wisdom greater than she had known, cemented her place as one of history's most fascinating and admirable figures. Her journey was not just a geographical expedition, it was an odyssey of the soul. It was the quest of a brilliant ruler who dared to ask the hard questions, to seek beyond the confines of her own realm, and in doing so, left an indelible mark on the tapestry of human history. The Queen of Sheba remains more than just a queen. She is a symbol of the luminous power of an open mind, of the enduring allure of wisdom, and of the profound connections that can be forged when hearts and minds meet in genuine pursuit of understanding. Her story may have unfolded in the mists of antiquity, but its message resonates with timeless clarity, a message that continues to inspire seekers of truth and wisdom for generations to come. Thank you for watching this incredible journey into the life and legend of one of history's most enigmatic and wisest queens. The Queen of Sheba's story is not just a tale of royalty, it is a powerful reminder of how an insatiable thirst for knowledge, intellectual courage, and spiritual openness can lead to profound enlightenment and leave an enduring legacy. From her vibrant kingdom in Sheba to her momentous encounter with King Solomon in Israel, she shaped her destiny and influenced traditions that echo even today. Her quest, filled with intellectual challenge and spiritual discovery, teaches us that true greatness often lies not in worldly power, but in the pursuit of wisdom. The very forces she embraced, curiosity, respect for knowledge, and openness to divine truth, became her enduring strength. The gifts she exchanged with Solomon were symbols of a deeper connection, a testament to the power of minds meeting in mutual admiration. But the Queen of Sheba's story is far from just a historical account. It's a story about the incredible power of inquiry, the depth of human aspiration for understanding, and the beautiful connections that arise when one dares to seek truth beyond familiar horizons. It's a reminder that, Even across millennia, some legacies of wisdom shine brightly, shaping cultures and inspiring future generations in ways we continue to explore. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more amazing tales from history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us as we continue to explore the incredible, the unforgettable, and the untold stories that shape our world. Stories that are filled with lessons, mysteries, and truths that have lasted through centuries. Until next time, remember, history is full of lessons, and every story, whether of intellectual quest or spiritual journey, is worth telling. So, stay tuned and be part of this incredible journey through time with us.